Then they all ran back to the bunny house. George did not have to put a string on the baby bunny. It ran after its mother all the way home. George took the string off Mother Bunny and helped them back into the house. Then Mother Bunny and all the little ones lay down to sleep. George looked at them. It was good to see the baby bunny back where it should be. And now George would go back to where he should be. When he came to the wall, he could see something funny in back of it. George got up on the wall to find out what it was. He saw a long string on a long stick. A fat man had the long stick in his hand. What could the man do with a stick that long? George was curious. The fat man was on his way to the lake, and soon George was on his way to the lake too. The man took a hook out of his box, put it on a string, and then put something on the hook. Then the man let the string down into the water and waited. Now George knew the string on the stick was to fish with. When the man pulled the string out of the water, there was a big fish on the hook. George saw the man pull one fish after another out of the lake till he had all the fish he wanted. What fun it must be to fish! George wanted to fish too. He had his string, all he needed was a stick, and he knew where to get that. George ran home as fast as he could. In the kitchen, he took the mop off the kitchen wall. The mop would make a good stick. Now George had the string and the stick. He was all set to fish. Or was he? Not yet. George had to have a hook on the hook something that fish like to eat. And on the hook, something that fish like to eat. Fish would like cake, and George knew where to find some. But where could he get a hook? Why, there was a hook for the mop on the kitchen wall. It would have to come out. With the hook on the string, and the string on the stick, and the cake in the box in his hand, George went back to the lake. George sat down, put some cake on the hook, and let the line down into the water. Now he had to wait, just as the man had waited. George was curious. The fish were curious too. All kinds of fish came to look at the line. Big fish and little fish, fat fish and thin fish, red fish and yellow fish and blue fish. One of them was near the hook. The cake was just what they wanted. George sat and waited. Then the line shook. There must be a fish on the hook. George pulled the line up. The cake was gone, but no fish was on the hook. Too bad. George put more cake on the hook. Maybe this time he would get a fish. But no, the fish just took the cake off the hook and went away. Well, if George could not get the fish would not get the cake. George would eat it, and he liked cake too. He would find another way to get a fish.